You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's R&B Divas LA After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's R&B Divas LA After Show.
Hey.
Because I'm happy, yeah.
Woo! Yeah.
And I sing you.
Show off.
Because I'm free. Yeah.
Hey.
Well,
Yeah.
y'all like that? Y'all like how I kind of brought that in, right? I was just kind of lip
That was
singing
you,
it out. All the way through lip singing.
It's about time, bro.
Hello. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV. Bingus for doing it. We're doing another episode here on AfterBuzz TV for R&B Divas LA. This is the season finale, and what you heard was Philip Bryan from his impromptu performance that he did when we did an exclusive interview with his wife, Little Mo, this past Wednesday. So thank you guys for tuning in and leaving all the great comments for that. But that was a tidbit of Philip singing. It was a duet that he and his wife sung. We had a really great time with Little Mo. She turned up.
You can check it out. Make sure you check that out on YouTube and iTunes as well.
Yeah, but again, as I said, my name is Bamm Ericsen, and I would like to introduce the panel for tonight.
Woo! What's going on? I'm Megan Thomas, also known as @MegScoop on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
What's up? It's Alfred Thomas II at Lies on Black.
And it's Larice Peoples at True Peoples.
I'm sorry. I love that shirt.
Oh,
Because it's like it gives me like 70s good times, but it's so modern with the tats and the vest. Yeah,
Right.
It's like the shirt and the vest was like, you know what? When I looked at it, I was like, man, it kind of remind me of like my dad.
It's tough, though. I like it. I like
It's
it.
like, you know, look, you know, he bringing it back,
But now let's bring it back to last night's episode. So the monologues, it finally was here, and so let's go into rehearsals. So what do you guys think about what happened at the rehearsal?
It ain't their fault. That's what I'll say.
Again, I just think it's one of those things is that everyone's kind of underprepared, but at the same time, everybody's like, okay, well, we're going to do our songs. And then at the last minute say, oh, nobody know our songs. That's just pretty much preparation. I think they just kind of like focus so much on the monologue that they just forgot about the music preparation. And again, it could happen, but in the end, we actually saw that it turned out to be a great, monologue.
For me, I felt when there was so bickering back and forth about not knowing the songs or singing the song full and complete, like it's almost like a musical. And so when you're performing, all you have to do is when you're ready to sing the song because you're doing a monologue and sometimes you may do impromptu, all you have to do is give the musical director a cue. All you have to do is turn around and maybe wink your eye or do something, and then the music goes. And then when you want the music to stop, you know how a choir director do. You put the
Right.
you put the hand up and
What's that? Hush. They're like, hush. They're like, okay.
any musician knows that when you put the hand up, this means that go to the bridge and that means that you're ready to end the song.
Yeah.
This means go to the bridge. So I mean, and Philip knows that because Philip is the church guy. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that was something that they just did for the sake of camera and just for the sake of the show. Because for me, that whole music part, that should have been the easiest of their worries. Like that that was just like, oh God, get to the monologues.
I know, but I think here's why I think they were justified in feeling like it was tough, because it wasn't so much when to start and end the music. It was about, okay, you got background singers you've never had before. You've got musicians that's never played with you before. They hadn't even sang these songs with him before, and I think that for me was a little little weird because I feel like, okay, you guys are supposed to be singing as well as doing a monologue. They should have had that rehearsal that was a day before. That should have been a week before, or at least like 2 or 3 days out.
But at the same time, you got to look at it like, whoever was in charge, even if it was Phil, you know, whoever was in charge on the musical part of the monologue should have had that taken care of. The Divas should already knew what song that they're going to sing so that, hey, I got these backup singers. I can send it to them 2 or 3 days before as a normal production would go. I'm going to send these songs to them, learn the words, so when we come into rehearsal, all we have to do is run over it, fine-tune it, and that's it. So whoever was in charge of the musical production of it, they dropped the ball on it.
I mean, for me, it all goes down to this is what happens when a great idea is brought to a table of women and this particular person decides to sabotage the situation, make her own show, or just go to rehearsals.
What particular person are you talking about?
What's the name? But in the situation of like with Kelly and what she did and the position that she put these particular women in, I applaud them. I was hoping and praying that I was right with my assumption that they would do the show, but they were able to pull themselves together, get to a point where they were in a fixated point where, yes, they were nervous, and I mean, it made sense why they were going through their struggles. And I mean, I do believe they're professional enough to have been a little bit more prepared with what they had on their plate. But the fact that they had that on their plate at the end of the day and that was all, it was just nerves and people being willing to do it, I'm like, they showed amazing heart through all that adversity, and those 4 strong characters pulled together and showed, you know, what I was hoping to show.
But you know, it also kind of shows that, you know, Ashanti and Claudette, the whole thing is that, you know, we need rehearsal, but they went through this rehearsal one time and did an amazing job.
Right, and then also, just going back, and I don't want to, you know, go too much in it, but like, you know, I agree with you, Black, that because of all the discombobulation before and the lack of rehearsal and this, all this, that's what caused all that. In addition to Claudette, she missed a lot of rehearsals because of her family situation.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Michel'le, she wasn't there either, so I'm assuming she probably had, you know, scheduling conflicts because as we learned from the Little Mo interview, they all had, you know, gave their schedule for a certain amount of months. And, you know, they do perform for a living, so I'm going to assume that maybe that Little Mo, Michel'le probably missed rehearsals because she was busy or she had, you know, other engagements. So I can see in the sense that a lot of them miss rehearsal for various reasons. So I could, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it goes to show you, like you said, that they are this was the easiest part because think about it, they only had 1 day of practice and they were able to do all of that. You know, they didn't even know if they were going to do full songs, half songs.
Yeah.
You know, Alfred, what's his name? Fred Thomas was like, hey, you guys can do a full song if you want to, a half song if you want to. And I really thought it was funny how Little Mo says to him, like, Fred, this is the meanest you have ever been. I was like, he better be mean. Y'all got to perform tomorrow. His name is on this as director.
And he needed to put his foot down. So I thought that was cool. The girls obviously did get it together. But there was something else that happened at the rehearsal, so let's just go ahead and just get it out there. So Little Mo gets a text or a tweet or some kind of message. I wonder who gave her that text message. I'm not going to say any names, but I think we all know. Let's do like they do on the reunion in ATL. You know, I think we all know who probably did that,
right?
Who did it, but
I wish I had a white chalkboard. Or whatever.
Right.
And so Little Mo gets a text, and then of course they see the photo billboard marquee of Don and Kelly for the monologues, and Little Mo in great fashion form says, Don don't even look like that no more.
But she doesn't, though.
She doesn't.
She doesn't. I mean, she doesn't look bad, but I'm saying you could tell that was a picture that was taken in her Vogue days. It was. I'm just saying. You know, she aged a little bit. That's okay.
False marketing and stuff. I'm not coming to the show.
What do you guys think about that? You know, Kelly says that she's busy, her schedule doesn't allow, but I'll be there, and she wasn't there, and now boom, the bomb is dropped that there's this monologue with the two.
I think it's utterly sad. I mean, honestly, I'm thinking with it supposed to be a reality TV show that the relationships that the women have with each other are authentic and real. And with the way things were coming out of Kelly's camp when it comes to how she treats her friends, I'm like, well, I'm kind of glad I'm not in your circle if this is the kind of stuff that your real, well, I want to say real friends because you don't treat real friends like that, but supposedly your close friends are. And I think that's the one thing that you see with Lil Mo. She keeps going through so much because she's really hurt.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I just want to say that what we can do is ask our viewers, make sure you go to iTunes, rate us. Let us know what you think about the whole season of R&B Divas LA. It is the first season, and we did watch the season finale last night. Please go on iTunes. You can download to your podcast, your iPad, your Android phone. Please rate us, quote us. If you have any question with us, please let us know. Also, the podcast, hey, we need y'all to download it because that's what keeps us here. But overall, I just want to say the thing about Kelly is that I agree with you, Black, but you have, again, the schedule conflict was a big issue with her. I mean, overall, we just kind of see like Kelly kind of unravel throughout the whole entire season of R&B Divas LA. But again, like I said before, Kelly is more of a dictatorship. As long as she's in control of everything that's happening, she's happy. As soon as everything starts to unravel, she don't have control of it. Then she's like, oh, I don't want to be a part of it. It's more like saying she's a quitter. And she's been very successful in her life, but at the same time, it's her success due to the fact that she's in control of her success, and if things don't work her way, it's just like, oh, well, I'm not going to deal with you. I'm just going to find some other way to do it. Right. And that's what she did with the Divas. Basically, like, the 6 of them started off. She didn't like the way Fred was doing things. And I don't take it away from Fred. I just kind of take it away from Kelly because same way that she want all the Divas to open up, to Tori, and the same way the Divas wanted her to open up to Fred. Fred basically had a format of what the monologue should be like. Kelly didn't have everything in control. And I think she just kind of lost control of it, which allowed her to kind of separate herself from her friends because I think she was just kind of shamed for her actions.
Right. I mean, I'll say this. I think that I want to hear Kelly's side of the story because I feel like this just doesn't make sense. Like, you can't, why would you boldface lie to people on national television at that and say, oh, I don't have time, and then go and do your own thing? There's got to be something that we're missing. So I really just want to hear what her side of the story is because she can't be that crazy. Why are you laughing, man?
I don't think it's crazy. I just think it's more so of like being in control.
But that's what I'm saying. It just doesn't make sense to me how she could go and say to these people, I don't have time. But then you go turn around and do the same exact thing that you said you didn't have time for. So if you're going to be, I just believe in being a real person. If you have something to say, you say it to them. If you don't want to be a part of their show because you don't like Shantae, then say that. And say, I'm going to start my own show, okay?
And that's what it was. Is that, okay, well, if I can't do it with you, I'm going to do it by myself. And
why couldn't she tell them that instead of them finding out through text message?
Because, it's like, boom, I did it without, it's like a slap in the face when they got a text. It's a day before the show. I'm just going to send it to them just so they can kind of see that, hey, I got my own show. One monkey don't stop a show, like Shantae always says. Like, oh, well, I'm doing the same thing too.
Well, who do you think y'all sent who do y'all think this text message was sent from?
Don't start.
The Wizard.
No, because I'm saying, okay, because
The Wizard.
Okay, that's what I thought, but it sounded like you were saying like Kelly sent it to him. Like, what?
But like her whole demeanor throughout that whole show, it went from one extreme to another. I mean, from the beginning of the first 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 episodes, she was real like home girlish, come family, let's sit together, let's powwow, let's be inspired, let's all organically come together. Then it became this whole other caricature. Her glasses changed, her walk changed, the way she talked to people. She had props. She had, it's like everything. There was so much added on and so much manipulated and twisted when it became what's going on with her, why is she making these decisions. I mean, it is something that I would feel like I would love for her to explain.
Yeah, I just think the beginning of the show that everybody kind of gravitate towards her because it was her idea. She brought everyone together. So,
or is it her idea?
That is true. Well, she claimed the idea as hers, so everybody felt like, oh, she know what she's talking about, she know what she's doing, so let's kind of gravitate towards her because she's leading and guiding us to try to make this monologue successful. When everybody started to see that, hey, she do not know what she's doing, then it's like, well, we really don't need you. We can kind of do this ourselves. But at the same time, they gave her the opportunity to come in and invite her in to like, okay, here's the other options. We're gonna look for a producer. We're gonna look for this. We need help with this. Are you gonna be here? Or are you not gonna be here? She just felt like, oh well, I don't have time, and that was her excuse. And I just felt like that was just kind of a cop-out.
Because she's not a real buddy. But you can be our real buddy and go to serialbuddies.com and download Adventures of Serial Buddies. It's a great, hilarious comedy. And if you download the movie, you help us here at AfterBuzz TV. You help keep the lights on. You help us to keep this programming free and ad-free at that. So make sure you go to serialbuddies.com, download the movie. There's Maria Menounos in it, Artie Lang,
Kathy Lee Gifford.
Christopher Lloyd, Henry Winkler, everybody, and their grandmama is in this movie. So make sure you download the movie, and you can also go to iTunes and search Adventures of Serial Buddies. Thank you.
I was looking at some of the YouTube comments from some of our shows, and someone, I didn't get the name, but someone on YouTube said they watched the Little Mo interview and they saw the plug for Serial Buddies, and someone said because of Little Mo on AfterBuzz, we're gonna go and get Serial Buddies. So I thought that was so great.
Good.
Thank you.
Like, thanks, Little Mo.
Okay, and so, I mean, there's really not much else we can say about the whole Kelly Don situation, and I think that if given the opportunity, and we do speak to Kelly, I think we can just ask and just find out, because there's so many different stories that's being told. You have Don and her doing interviews. You got Little Mo, you got Shantae. There's just so much going on that I don't know who the hell is telling the truth and who's lying. I'm just gonna be honest. But let's get into now the monologues, and we could just go right into
At that lovely theater.
Yeah.
Monologue.
That's amazing.
Has anyone ever been to that theater?
I've driven past it, the El Portal.
Where is that? Is that across?
It's in Hollywood.
Is that across from the Kodak Theater?
Yeah. From
Where
the
they-
Chinese theater.
Next by where they do Jimmy Kimmel?
I don't know where they do Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay. I've never been, but it seems like a really nice
nice,
theater.
yeah.
Okay. But one thing I did notice, that why were the divas walking up? There was no car drop off. I was expecting more of a grand entrance. They look like they parked around the corner, because behind the El Porto Theater and the Pantages Theater, there's a lot of parking from around the block. So the way they were walking, it seemed like they just kind of walked from around the corner. They parked their car by the meters, and they just walked.
Hey, it's budget, okay?
I know, right?
Budget.
You see, they just got this together the day
okay?
before.
Yeah.
They didn't have time for all
Budget
that.
costs.
Yes, but let's go into Shantae's. I thought the intro was really good. I liked how they walked out, how they had the chairs of lighting. I thought the setup was really, really
It's
great.
supposed to be like The View. That's what I felt like when I saw
The
it.
view.
The way they sat down and had their
Yeah.
little chillness and the cups. I was
Right.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I did like the setup.
Yeah.
But yet we didn't during the actual play. Fred was nowhere to be in sight. There were no clips or scenes of him backstage or him,
I think it's probably more about the divas at that moment,
Right.
because
I guess there's really not much he can do, right?
Right.
Okay, Shantae. What do you guys
I think she did a great job. Like, seriously, from the beginning, when she first got down, I was like, why is she kneeling in the chair itself? But then you kind of understand, like, she's acting like she's 6 years old. It's kind of like touching, because everybody kind of took themselves back to, like, oh, I remember, like, when I was, like, younger, mom and dad, the love and affection that they have growing up. And everybody wants to kind of endure that, like, growing up as a child. But as she kind of progressed into
Not
it.
everybody.
Most people.
Okay.
But as she kind of like progressed into her monologue, I just think like her transition was great.
Yeah.
The meaning behind like the love, and just overall as she continued to express herself, I think she did a great job. The nervousness, it wasn't there. I think a lot of time when people actually start talking about their past or actually start just reaching out to people, all the fear kind of goes away, and you really able to express yourself a lot more and be able to get people attention more, and so they can kind of basically engage into who you are as a person. I think she did a great job.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I think it's hard when you have to act like a child. You have to, at first I was like, what is this chick doing? But it makes sense. And it also makes sense how it plays into her life. Because if you see, she's been married twice. And both of these marriages were pretty long. I mean, by Hollywood standards, they were pretty long. So I think, she really is in search of love. And I'm glad she showed this side of her. So she just doesn't look like a crazy chick who just wants to so badly to have a man for no reason.
Yeah.
But you see where it stems from. So it makes sense.
I mean,
Was that Kenny in all this?
No.
I was like, is that Kenny?
No, because no.
When Papers trying to serve her.
I was like, man, he is very supportive.
No, that was not Kitty. No, I thought just the overall story of, from her idolizing marriage, based off of her parents' relationship and all their great love.
Yeah.
And the whole 20-year-old guy from the choir, and she was 14. Disturbing, but I mean, it's the truth. What can you say?
It happens a lot.
It does happen
yeah.
a lot. So, I mean, but I thought she did a great job with Crimea River.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go into Little Mo. Cynthia versus Little Mo.
I liked it. I thought that was one of my favorite pieces in the sense of, I think Little Mo is such a strong person in general, and I think a lot of her fans just feed into the energy of just who she is as the complete package of her voice, her swag, her whole image. But I think it's hard. I think a lot of people fail to see that same Lil Mo image is somebody just like you are. How she could have been a regular person just like anybody. She could have just been your hairstylist that had the bomb voice that were exposed to. But in a sense of I think all of us, especially if you're in the entertainment business and you're trying to go for a certain kind of stature, there is a point where there becomes a divide of the real you compared to the you becoming, or the you that you all of a sudden realize you are right now. When things all of a sudden hit the fan, you have the money, the fame, and all these other elements that can make you feel great, but also can break you down as a person. And that original you may not have agreed with that. If they had known, they would have got caught up in that. And I thought that was the revealing of that separation and the things that she went through as a person, and the Little Mo depiction, taking that to use for fame, and how she as a real person is still there, even though the only people, when they see her, Cynthia, they see Little Mo. That whole thing I thought was really well done, especially for her not to be as exposed. I mean, she did The Color Purple, like she said, but at the same time, I think that was another level for her, another stepping outside, and the work that they put in with Fred really showed. I think you could tell that she put in the most work when it came to that.
And did you notice that song?
I was gonna say that was a song that a couple episodes she was just in the studio freestyling, and she was like, "Yeah, so what? I know I'm flat," and then that.
That's all you took from that? Yeah, I know I'm flat.
And so I thought that really goes to show what a great skill she has for writing songs, because she totally, or it appears she freestyled that song, and then that's the actual song. And the way she's able to sing with her voice, but then kind of give you that whole little that
switch up,
the switch up and the swag to it. I mean, I thought the song was hot.
You mean like this?
You said you was gonna sing good today.
No. I did. That is good.
Okay, well,
good garbage.
Right. And so when she was here, she was doing the whole throw the L up, and I just didn't ask her. I didn't know what it mean. Like, okay, maybe that's just kind of her little signature thing, L. But I get it now.
Mm-hmm.
You know? What is L supposed to stand for other than Lil Mo?
I thought it means to live, because to live or for life, because she tried to kill, like Cynthia tried to kill Little Mo, and so she's who she is, and now she's living. So that's what I thought the L was for, not Little Mo. Oh, well,
I just think that when people when you say Cynthia tried to kill Little Mo, I think it's kind of like bipolar. I don't want this. I love the fame. I hate you.
I know, it reminds me of that movie that they were like in the hotel room trying to get the dude to kill all those personalities.
I'm just joking, Little Mo. I mean, we understand. It makes a great point.
Well, we can tweet her and ask her what the L stands for. Now let's go into Claudette.
She's still beautiful as ever.
She is, and you remember I said the very first episode, I was like, "Yo, she has no self-worth." You can tell by the way her life has been, and I was so happy that she came on this show, because I felt like she would reclaim some of that. So it's really good to see her talking about that, and she's like, I'm killing self-worth.
Yeah.
Self-worth that she doesn't have, I should say.
I think a lot of times when they kind of have touching stories, and I think everybody have those type of interaction in their life that's life-changing. The self-worth and what happened to her. But her being able to speak out about it, it kind of makes it relevant to other people that, yeah, it's okay to talk about it. But also make sure you identify your surrounding other people that you are. She's 14 years old, the guy's 18 years old. Already, it's the age don't match up. But at the same time, you have to identify what are the risks of talking to someone that much older than you. And her situation, it was a tragedy. And with that tragedy, she learned how to be better with herself, even though it kind of carried into like several different relationships. But now she kind of understands, again, like you said, she kind of got her self-worth back. Right. Here's an opportunity for her to really revive her career, her lifestyles, and I think just kind of speaking out to the audience that people kind of understand who she is as a person. Because at first, you know, she really didn't say much throughout the whole entire show, but now we kind of understand that, you know what, she do have a voice, she do have an opinion, and that, you know, we understand why she is the way that she is.
Black. Go
All right.
ahead.
I'm gonna say my little one thing real quick and get it in and out, because I think this is a real touchy topic. I noticed that the age range between when the girls went through, you know, their horrible situations, being 14, and the dudes either being 18 or 20. I mean, for me, it made me feel some type of ways, because I think with the way society is and how there can be, well, let me say, I feel bad for what they went through, and there's no excuse for making bad decisions. You know what I'm saying? When they were referring to those guys as these men, yeah, they were men, but not necessarily technically when it comes to real life and real processing. I think they're just as, well, not maybe those guys in those situations weren't victims, but I think the way society is and how they, you know, you can go to jail younger and younger now based off of the way they're looking at us and the kind of crimes that, you know, men go through. I mean, I hate to say that we have to make wiser decisions when we're younger now. You have to be a smart 12-year-old in order to really survive this world. But at the same time, I feel that the way it was depicted, I understood, because they were predators in a sense. But at the same time, it's because this is such a touchy situation. There's probably a whole nother discussion to go into that. I mean, I felt some kind of way. And 14 isn't hella young to me, you know what I'm saying? So your decision, your mind, a 14-year-old, I've been around them. They're kind of smart and kind of know what the world is. I mean, they are the ones who are exposed to the Miley Cyruses twerking in the videos and all this other stuff. So, I mean, like I said, I have friends who've been accused of things, and they're in the public eye based off of their surroundings and what these young girls are exposed to. I think that's a real gray, fickle kind of situation and area. So I still felt bad, and I don't want to get it twisted on how I looked at the fact that they were 14 and the guys were 18. And it's like 5 years to 6 years. I mean, it was still bad, but I'm like, they're still of age to consciously. They were boyfriends. They were people that they chose to make love interests
I don't know if I agree with
certain,
this.
certain
I'll say this.
situation. I was like, well, I mean, if you looking at them like they're such a man predator, why are they your boyfriend? And all of a sudden it switched, and now all of a sudden he's the bad guy. Yes, he is the bad guy because of what he did, but he wasn't bad when you was dating and when everything led up to that.
But here's the thing, Black, because these girls are girls. They're 14. I'm not saying, okay, these men are grown. Okay, that agreed. But not every woman has a protector, especially girls that go through this stuff at that age. Sometimes they don't have anybody to teach them that you're 14. You shouldn't be messing with an 18-year-old man. There's a thrill that comes with it when you're 14. You think like, oh, I'm so pretty. This guy, he's older than me. I'm the bomb. You're thinking that.
Decisions we make have consequences.
Agreed. But no means no. If a woman comes to your house and she says, no, I'm on my cycle, as Claudette says to this man, I don't want to have sex with you.
And I don't want to take that from there.
And so what I'm saying is it doesn't matter if he was 15 and she was 14 or if he was 35 and she was 14. The fact that she said no means no. The first no means no. So the fact that he just continued to do whatever he wanted and have his way with her, even though she came over there, she thought that she was going over there, you know, in her innocent mind of a child who doesn't know that there's a lot of predators out there. She's thinking it's okay. She's thinking this is my boyfriend. He would never harm me.
But you also,
so I wouldn't blame. I can't blame anybody that goes through something like that. And I cannot say that a girl who is 14 should take. Yes, we all have personal responsibility, but when you're 14 and some man tries to use his sex against you, no man that is 18 plus should ever be trying to have sex with a woman under 18, because guess what? It's against the law. It's called statutory rape.
This is my question. You also have to ask, how many times had this happened before where a man tried to have sex with a 14-year-old? In that case, excuse me, in Claudette's case, I'm pretty sure that wasn't the first attempt that he ever tried to be like, okay, cool, let's have sex. Let me touch on you. And she's like, no, okay. And then all of a sudden, he probably just like, you know what? I'm just going to take it. You know,
so does that make it okay?
No, I'm not saying it's okay, but at the same time, like, women have to identify the fact that, okay, well, this person is really trying to have sex with me, whether it's the first time or whether it's the fifth time. I got to kind of distance myself and put myself in a better situation, because I know one day he's gonna want it real bad, and something bad can possibly happen. Like, you're 14 years old, you have an 18-year-old person basically like trying to have sex with you. You know what? You should tell yourself, you know what? I need to remove myself out of the situation. Boyfriend, no boyfriend. I don't want this in my life.
Agreed, but I'm just saying there should be. We have to defend our little girls. That's what I'm saying. And most of the times, the reason why girls choose guys like this is because they don't have a man to tell them you are beautiful, you are precious. Don't ever let no man lure you to his house at 11 p.m. You know, they don't know that.
They're young adult men that need to be protected too, in the sense of how they're looked based off of these situations. I do agree that when you make bad decisions, you should be looked at like the predator and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, when I was 18, I was still young and growing. And if, you know, my girlfriend that we are in a relationship with happens to be young and her parents agreed and all that, then those are situations and society standards that have to be looked at and discussed and talked about, especially when it comes to your daughter and what they're doing when it comes to their dating life and putting themselves in certain situations. I just say, I don't condone what homeboy did. I don't look at her like she's not a victim. I just say in the situation of all of a sudden he becoming some man and being the evil type thing, I think he's still a young boy caught up in the world that we set up. Just like how when you get married and you divorce, she gets half, even though she ain't really do nothing, or vice versa if it's weighed over heavy. I still think you just got to talk about that so it gets better.
And I still think that we are going to move on.
Yes, we are.
So let's go into Michel'le. What's...
I love her.
She is so comedic. Like,
she is.
She's so funny. You know, the first couple of things that she said, you know, she had the audience laughing. You know, she says that... she says that she was a bad mother, she was a bad friend, a lover, and she wasn't even sleeping with nobody. and I mean, she totally just broke the comic relief when people start laughing. And so, but I think she did a great job at when she needed to be serious, she hit the mark for the serious marks, and then she went back to the comedy. So that, I guess maybe so that it wasn't so sappy, because other women's stories were so, you know, it was kind of somewhat emotionally draining for some people to have to take in some of the information. But the way she did it and the way she was talking about, you know, how she was, you know, tried to commit suicide, and how her the last person that she saw was her daughter, and that while she was drugged on 4 different medications, that the last person she saw was her daughter, and the last words was goodbye. And that's so sad, it was, you know, it was. I laughed, and then I was sad, and so you know, I think she did what she wanted to convey is what I think most people you know took in.
I thought she was a great ending, or a great last person to go. I felt I don't know why, but no, I do know why. She came off like Richard Pryor to me. A lot of his comedy was real and dark and painful as far as what he was really talking about. But at the same time, you'd be busting out laughing just by his delivery and his way of interpreting what he went through. And I felt like that was the same situation with her, where she just naturally fell into that, and people were very warm and receptive, although shocked and in awe of what was going on, because it's not very easy to talk about anything, but it's definitely not easy to talk about it in a chill kind of way.
Right, especially talking about your baby. To tell your child goodbye.
And then on their finale, they all came out and they were singing Time After Time.
Time After Time.
That
was good. That was actually really good. Why you hating?
Time After Time by pop star Cyndi Lauper. And what I liked about the finale was I was expecting Little Mo or Shantae to drive home the song. Yeah. It was Claudette. And
I'm surprised.
Because Claudette, her personality, she's not, you know, like, okay, you know, like when they used to do finales at award shows, and there was always 1 or 2 people that kind of just, you know, drove it home. That like the lead singers. That when Beyonce gets the opportunity, you know, if she give the girls a couple of notes, and then Beyonce's gone, she's gonna take you there. Little Mo and Shantae more those take you there.
I'm gonna close the show.
Not Claudette. So when she was there and I thought that was terrific that she's the one that drove it home. I thought that was great.
So she understands her self-worth.
Right. And I felt like it, I mean, when I think about her in her City High days, she would take it there. If you've ever seen them in concert, she would take it there. she put her soul into it. She might be, introverted in person, or she may just kind of be quiet when you see her. But when she's get on that stage and she starts singing, she'll take you there. So.
All right. Well, she absolutely take us in. We're
Hold
gonna
on,
take
wait a
you.
second. I want to know who do y'all think was your favorite monologue?
Oh,
That's what I want to know.
Let's say Lil Mo was mine.
Who?
Lil Mo.
Limo.
Larice.
Comedically.
No, just in general.
In the real world.
Nah, I can relate with Little Mo.
I like. I think Michel'le's the most.
Her was lighthearted.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
comedic, so that's
But
why
it
I
was
was like.
heavy,
yeah.
but it was like it's a really serious subject matter.
I
but
love
she's
Michel'le
funny.
though, because she's so she's so funny.
Mine was Little Mo, followed by Michel'le.
Yeah.
And so now let's go into news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Well,
Okay, go
I
ahead.
have something to say
I have a couple
about
things.
Kelly Price, our girl. Kelly Price. So she just did an interview recently on cnikki.com, and they've just released a trailer. Haven't released the entire interview yet, but she says in the interview that she wasn't, everybody was busy. And I guess that was in regards to the question asked about, you said you were busy, but you guys end up doing a monologue anyway. She said during the show, everyone had scheduling issues and everyone was busy at one time or another. So that's her response. I'm really wanting to see what the rest of this interview says, because I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. So you're just going to use that as your
Just
excuse?
gonna keep
But
lying.
you still did a monologue.
Right, and then she also said that that everything you see is her, it's real, and she said you see her in her most extreme forms. Everyone's capable of being one way or another in their extreme form. So,
I didn't see what was extreme about the show, but okay.
no, I think extreme about what she did, and how she reacted to people.
Yeah. That's just her.
Okay.
That's just her.
Exactly.
I have
Exactly.
I have two things. The first thing is I love when I love when I hear stories about people who find out about AfterBuzz. We've been really fortunate on the show where people have heard about our after show. They call in, they write in. Tori, Don Robinson's husband, all of these people just have heard of our show. And so a friend of mine who lives in the Bay Area was at the car wash, and he was watching our. Don't laugh. He was watching our AfterBuzz recap for R&B Divas. He was watching it on a cell phone, and so he heard the intro. AfterBuzz TV. The whole intro. And so some guy next to him was like, "What are you listening to?" And he was like, "Oh, my friend does a show AfterBuzz." And he was like, I know of AfterBuzz. And then they start having this conversation, and he actually watches our show on R&B Divas as well as some other shows. And his name is Jeff from San Leandro, and he goes to Cal State East Bay.
Wow.
And he's also a journalism major. So I just want to say hi to Jeff,
What up,
and
Jeff?
thank you for
Thanks,
watching.
Jeff.
So I thought that was really cool. I think that's great when we always hear things about how people hear about AfterBuzz TV. And then the last information that I have is some Kelly Price news. Last night, for those who are watching, I was at Kelly Price's auditions for the Too Fat for Fame. And I'm photoed there with Faith Evans and Kelly Price. All right, so Too Fat for Fame. Let me just explain what Too Fat for Fame is.
Because that name.
Kelly's this is Kelly's vision, where for anyone who's ever felt like they've been told you're too fat for fame, or you're too fat to be successful, you're too fat to be a singer, you're too fat to be a dancer, whatever the situation is.
I'm about $2 to be a model.
You can be on the show too.
Okay.
And so she has these auditions for both men and women, for anyone who's told they've been too fat for anything. So it was at a theater in Hollywood last night, and there was probably hundreds of people who were there auditioning, and she had a panel of celebrity judges. Besides Kelly Price, there was a comedian, Lunel.
I love
There
her.
was the dancer, choreographer Lorianne Gibson, who's known for who's known for doing the choreography for Lady Gaga. You've worked with her before too, right? No,
No, I haven't worked with her, but she did Honey.
Oh yeah, she did Honey. And so and Shirley Ralph was there, and so it was an all day thing. And so after they select who's gonna be, I think 12 people. They all live in a house together, and then I think the winner gets a prize. So I just thought that's really cool that Kelly. It's no surprise that Kelly is plus size, and she's been always told that she's too fat for fame. So she wants to give other people the opportunity who's been told they're too fat for fame. So regardless of how you feel about her behavior on R&B Divas, I think it's great that she's at least doing other stuff as well. So what do you guys think about that?
She's a good person. She just.
I mean, I think it's a great opportunity just for other people to kind of get the exposure. You know, like you said, a lot of people kind of get turned down because of their size, because of their look, or for whatever the reason. But it's gonna be kind of interesting to see 12 people living in a house. It's almost like Big Brother or something.
I know, but I'm just saying though, like, so basically.
And you gave me a look.
Are they gonna
I gave you.
have a
Let
trainer
me
in the
tell
house?
you two things. That's what I'm saying. No, but I gave you a look because number one, yet again, you went somewhere else. You did not invite us. Boom. That's why I gave you that look. You didn't tell us. But the other thing I'm saying is, as a former fatty myself, I used to be 200 pounds. I will say I don't really like this show because. So what, the winner is what, the most talented fat person? Like, that's not okay.
I don't like the name. I don't like the name Too Fat for
But
Fame.
my thing is like
that.
with the show itself, is it gonna be like, oh well, we're gonna put you on a weight loss challenge and also?
No, I don't think that's what it is. I
But they
think, of
supposed
course,
to
they're
love
gonna have
themselves.
help.
Isn't that the point?
they love
to
they,
be who they
yeah,
are.
they
and
love themselves.
Be fresh.
That's what I'm, okay,
talented
so
and
I
all
have, again, as a former fatty, I have a problem with this.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't like the name. I just don't like fats, but I do get it because.
How's it spelled? PHAT or FAT?
But in the industry, I mean, I have heard people say, Anya, you know, she's too fat. I've heard, or he's too fat. So I get the too fat for fame, but just the word fat, I don't like.
I mean, it really just depends on what they're trying to do with their life and in their career. But of course, you know, they do have plus size models and everything. But at the same time, if it's something musically or acting, it's a possibility you can get in there. It's all about who you know. But overall, I mean, it's kind of interesting to see what the show is about and what the person who's going to win out of 12 people and what type of structure the show is going to be. What type of challenges or I'm gonna watch this, be interested, you know, to support Kelly too, but also be interested in like what is the overall outcome? What are they going to receive out of like 2 months of taping?
Well, speaking of watching, I hope you guys watch and tune into us next week for. Although it's the finale, now they have a 2-part reunion. So
they don't have Joe Claire, do they?
No, Wendy Williams.
See her lately? She got skinny.
Oh,
Wendy Williams.
She was mad at me, boy.
She's looking good, honey.
Top heavy, boy.
Well. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Let everyone know where you could be found on social media.
Oh, you can always find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Meg Scoop, like scoop of ice cream. And don't forget, go to cerealbuddies.com and download Adventures of Cereal Buddies.
How you doing?
You can find me at All Eyes on Black. And if you are in the North Hollywood area, starting Sunday, September 1st, and every Sunday after, I'm having a grown folks game night. It's at Goodnight Bar, 10721 Burbank Boulevard.
And you can find me at
Two Buffer Fame.
Two Buffer Fame.com. At True People's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Also check out TruePeoplesMedia.com. You funny.
And you can find me on social media at Bamm Ericsen on Twitter and Facebook. And you can also find me at Big Six Entertainment. Thank you guys for watching. And if you missed the Little Mo interview, you guys can go to our website at www.afterbuzztv.com. And you can find our interview with Little Mo and her husband, Philip Bryan. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week for R&B Divas LA, the reunion part 1.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.